Now, sometimes you have to use the distributive property when solving equations. So remember, the distributive property is that if you have a term, A, multiplied by a sum of a term, let's say B plus C, that would equal the sum of the product of the factor on the outside or the term on the outside times everything on the inside. So it's like we distribute that term A to B, so A times B is AB, and A times C is AC. So we have examples here. 5 times the quantity of 20 plus 6, if we distribute 5 times 20 and then 5 times 6, so it's 5 times 20 plus 5 times 6. We have 9 times the quantity of 30 minus 2 is 9 times 30 minus 9 times 2. 3 times the quantity of 5 plus 2x is 3 times 5 plus 3 times 2x. And then negative 2 times the quantity 4x minus 7 is negative 2 times 4x minus negative 2 times 7. So again, you're distributing that outside term to everything on the inside. You're multiplying it by everything on the inside to get the sum of those products. Some equations may include parentheses with the variables or numbers. So again, you need to utilize that distributive property. The distributive property might be helpful in isolating the variable. So here's an example. We have 5 times the quantity x minus 6 minus 3x equals 8. So you could use the distributive property, as shown here, as the first step in solving for x to then use our inverse operations. So we distributed the 5 to the x minus 6. We did 5 times x is 5x, and then minus 5 times 6, which is 30. So that 5x minus 30 was our first step using the distributive property. And then from there, we can combine the like terms. We did 5x here minus 3x to give us 2x. And then also we were using our inverse operation, so we also added 30 to both sides, which is where we got the 38 on the right. And then we used our inverse operation of dividing by 2, since it was multiplying by 2, to get the 19 on the right as well, and our isolated variable x. But because you had that 5 and the parentheses, we used the distributive property first for this equation to solve it. So let's take a look at this equation. Again, we're going to find we're in the same situation where we can use the distributive property. We have 3 times the quantity, w minus 2, equals 9. Well, actually, you can use the distributive property because, again, we have our parentheses and a number on the outside. But some of you might have thought, well, that's not what I would have done first, right? Think of what else you can do besides distribute the 3. Think about, even as I read the equation, we have 3 times the quantity w minus 2 equals 9. So you have two different approaches here. We were talking about the distributive property, but you also can divide by that number on the outside in this specific equation because there's no other terms affecting the 3 times w minus 2. It's a product. So you could divide by 3 on both sides and get w minus 2 equals 3. And then if we add 2, we get w equals 5. But you could also distribute. That's what we were encouraging, where you multiply 3 times w for 3w and 3 times negative 2 for negative 6. That is what you get when you distribute with those products. So then you can add 6 to both sides. So 3w equals 15. And then dividing by 3 gives you w equals 5. So both give you that solution of w equals 5. It's just two different approaches. One you distribute and one you divide. Now, you don't always have the choice of your two different approaches. Sometimes you have to distribute. So in this example here, it's asking us to solve the equation 6m plus 2 times the quantity 2m plus 7 equals 54. Now, here we have this term of 6m first before the 2 times the quantity of 2m plus 7. You have a term affecting the product of that other 2 times 2m plus 7. So we cannot divide by 2 here. We have to distribute. So when we distribute, we'll do 2 times 2m will give us 4m, and 2 times 7 gives us 14. We then combine like terms of 6m plus 4m to give us 10m plus 14 equals 54. We'll then subtract 14 on both sides to give us 10m equals 40. And dividing both sides by 10 gives us our final answer of m equals 4. So again, the distributive property will help when solving multi-step equations. You just have to be on the lookout for those parentheses with the number on the outside.